All right. Give me a second here. Good morning. Let me see if I can get this turned down just a little bit. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, right? Hump day. And I'm here, ready to go, sort of. I saw what you wrote there, Tyre. I know, I saw what you did. That's all right. I can take it. I'm a very large man. And I am a man. I'm a man. I'm a man. I don't know that song. I'm a man. And she's like, I'm a bitch. And I'm a this and that. When we make love together. Anyway, happy Wednesday. It's hump day. Is it hump day? Is today Wednesday? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. I want to get caught up on some of the races that are happening around the country, the political races, so that's what we're going to talk about today. There was that debate between John Fetterman and Dr. Mehmet Oz last night, which, hoo boy. That was interesting, and it's not so much that, you know, Fetterman's, well, people say his disability from the stroke is not going to hinder him, but boy, it kind of hindered him when he was trying to talk yesterday. And I don't know if that's just because it's hard for him to process things in his mind, but it didn't look good for him. And I don't want to, I don't care about the stroke, but I just care about his positions. And his positions didn't make sense either. And so we're going to look at that. We're going to look at all kinds of stuff, I guess. So anyway, there's the race in, there's debates. There's that debate. I think Kathy Hochul debated Lee Zeldin, or there was something about that. Gretchen Whitler, her fate seemed to be slipping a little bit. Who knows, man? It kind of depends on the turnout. Now in Georgia too, Herschel Walker and Warnock are within 2 points of each other. So it's going to be really interesting. And I don't know how it's going to go. Turnout could be a big thing. Who knows? Maybe they'll get a bunch of young people to vote like they say they're going to do every time. I don't know. But we're going to figure it out. We're going to look at some things that are happening in some of these races and a couple other news items right after we play the intro. And I would think this might be a good time to play the intro. Johnny! Play the intro. Yes. Right now. Play the intro!
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Yes! Shall we, people? Thank you for joining today. Good morning. And welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty Johnson, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel. I can't hear myself. There we go. Thank you. It is Wednesday, the 26th of October, 2022. And lots of stuff going on in politics last night. The big debate between Mehmet Oz. It's debate week. Yesterday, the day before, it was DeSantis and Charlie Crist, and now the latest polls show DeSantis' lead has increased. He's at about a 14% lead in Florida, so it's looking pretty good for DeSantis. Look, I hate to break it all to you DeSantis detractors, but despite your total disdain for governor of Florida, he's very popular in his state. And And, those demographic shifts that you keep hoping for will make things better for you. Well, that ain't working in Florida because he's in that particular graphic that you like to think that's going to help you. He's at about 50% in that particular demographic. You can figure out which one I'm talking about on your own. I am not going to help you. But anyway, and last night, oh my God, the debate between Fetterman and Mehmet Oz. I watched the entire thing. It was really short. It's kind of weird because they're having one debate, which I don't think the Fetterman camp really wanted to have because they know that he's having trouble speaking still, and that the stroke has made it difficult for him to be completely functional, right? But they want to. They almost had to because they couldn't sit there and just constantly run away from Dr. Oz. They know that wasn't a good look either. So they've been trying to make it as normal as possible for him and make it seem that he's normal as possible. Then they could just go back and blame any misgivings on, one, his health, and two, they could blame it on somebody else. And they're finding ways to do that. And so, but I don't think it works. I think overwhelmingly people believe that Oz won that debate, and we'll get to talk about that and talk about other things. But first, like I like to do, I want to say good morning to everybody that is early in the chat. So first in chat on both Rumble and on YouTube would be our friend Avocados Diablo, who gets the bell. Congratulations, as often you are one of the bright and early people. Also in the chat over on Rumble, Mike Savage, Blarg, Jimmy Das Hotep, Simon Wolfwood. Thank you for joining me over there. By the way, I highly encourage you, even if you watch on YouTube, to click that Rumble link in the description down below and at least subscribe over there. If you do not see me at this time of day on YouTube, Monday through Friday, if I haven't pre-announced that I'm on vacation or some shit like that, it could be that I am taking one of those little timeouts that YouTube likes to give. And honestly, I know that I have one item on a video that I'm not going to go search for because I don't even remember what freaking day it was in July that they've been dinging people for. And I think it's unfortunate. I think it's bullshit. I think it's crazy. But if that happens, I will get another 14 days of time out from the powers that be. So I highly suggest you just go over their Rumble, even if you're not going to spend time, even if you're not going to watch a show on Rumble. Come on over there, click the link to Rumble, find my name at PDog9, or you can just click the link down in the description. It's down there. The other place is the bottom down there is other places you can find me. Click that link, subscribe over there, and that's that. That's all you got to do. All right. So you might have. I'm not sure if do you have to sign up for Rumble to do that. You have to. I guess you do something to get your username, but I don't think it's it doesn't cost you anything. Also, follow me on Locals. I'm going to start posting fairly regularly on Locals. It doesn't cost anything to follow me over there. Although eventually I want to do, I want to use Locals like a lot of people use Patreon. If you want to support the channel just like on a once a month basis, you can do it there, easy. And their take on it is a little less than Patreon and Subscribestar and all that. Plus, I like the platform. I like the fact that I can do local live streams over there. I can write over there. I'm going to start writing again. I haven't been doing a lot of writing in the last few years, but I'm going to do a little writing again, and just post things about what's happening because that's a place where they will not shut me down. They're completely free speech oriented. So that's Rumble and Locals are kind of a combination. And if you check me out on Rumble, you can see a link to follow me on Locals too. I am going to start posting at least regularly there. So, come check those out. But in case the YouTube hammer comes down, that's what happens. Now, let's go over to after all that, let's talk about the YouTube chat. Good morning, Chicago Mike, Tribute Liberty, Dom O'Leary, Mike Savage is over there too. Blarg. Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
That was quick. Tyrannus Alexandrius Tremerlich. I'm not sure. What does Tremerlich mean? Can I look that up? Here, let me see if I can figure out what the hell that means. What is Tremerlich? Oh, is that like Edge of Darkness wiki? Oh my goodness, this is dark. White wolf. Oh, it's Tremerlich. White wolf. I don't know what that means. Okay, well, we'll figure it out later. Oh, that's good. Where am I at? Good morning, Tyler F. Dom O'Leary. I already said Dom O'Leary. I did, didn't I? Anna Lynn's in the house. Rotten Corpse. Good morning. Select a boy.
Yeah, boy.
And Jethro Hetero. If I missed you, I'll figure it out and say hi. But anyway, welcome back to the channel, everybody. While you're here, hit a like button on Rumble. Hit that little plus sign or the thumbs up, depending if you're watching on desktop or mobile. Put a comment in the comment section if you're watching a replay, and also share the stream. I don't care if you share the Rumble. I don't care if you share the YouTube. Share one of them, and let's make this grow. Project 10,000 is in effect. Got to grow the channel. And I'm going to have some guests on Friday. We're going to be talking about YouTube censorship, or not. I would say YouTube censorship. Their stupid strike system and their copyright system. But we're just going to talk about that. I'm going to have a panel on here. It's going to be called since for Halloween, it's going to be the panel of the damned. Because damn it, I felt damned on my 7-day hiatus from YouTube. All right. Shall we talk about some news? Shall we? It's a game. He is an evil vampire. Ah, got it. Soul-sucking wizard. Okay, yeah, I've met her. Anyway, I wanted to. One thing I want to do today. I am also on a lot of alternative media. I don't post there. I mostly post just notifications there. But if you happen to be kicked off of some other media, I think it'd be a good idea for you to at least go on one other platform and get your marker there. And if you want to be able to find notifications for my show when you don't get them necessarily through your whatever browser, whatever thing you use. I get a lot of notifications on my telephone, right? And I don't know, it can be annoying, but it at least helps me know when the show's coming on. But anyway, so I wanted to go check out a couple of those spots. And so, for example, now I barely use Gab. However, I'm on Gab. I post my show there. I only have 27 followers on there, but I think there's a couple that people who use that to find me. And so I am, as you can see, here I am on Gab, and I post every show on here. Okay. Oh, I didn't refresh this. Did today's show pop up there? Let's see. Let me just refresh here. Yes, it did. There it is. Jockeying for position. Did I put the YouTube? I put the Rumble show up there, okay? I'm also on Minds. Now, on Minds, speaking of Fetterman, Tim Cast's on here. Fetterman tanking after Oz debate exposes severe mental disability. Democrats claim captions broke. That's a funny one because they're blaming the caption machine why he was having so much trouble. Good morning, Septus Wolf, by the way. Welcome over on Rumble. And there's a few other people that, on there, Matt Christensen. There's a lot of people. I do have a lot of people I follow on Rumble, more so than some of the other ones. On Cloud Hub, I'm also there. That's yesterday's, obviously. Here's today's Jockeying for Position. I posted there. Now, this I don't follow a ton of people either. It's kind of funny because someone wrote here, twice failed presidential candidate, failed Russian conspiracy theorist, and most prolific serial killer in U.S. history. Hillary Clinton has dire warning for Americans. Right-wing extremists are a danger to America. Yeah, she's already claiming that the right or Republicans or whatever are poised to steal the 2024 election. And I was thinking to myself, isn't that against the YouTube terms of services and Twitter terms of services to be an election denier? But if you read the rules carefully, that only applies to past elections. Hillary is already claiming that there's going to be shenanigans in a future election. So I don't think she'll get in trouble for that. But anyway, there were here's the No Lives Matter Aquarian Anarchy. They were talking about the cancellation of Kanye West and Alex Jones over at Aquarian Anarchy. I'm also on Parler. Now, Parler has a couple things here that I thought were interesting. Over in New York State, the Supreme Court has the New York Supreme Court has ordered that the public employees in the state of New York, particularly in New York City, who were fired for not taking the Fauci juice, be reinstated and be given 100% of their back pay. A blow to the new mayor and also to the former governor. Also, they mentioned here that, Michigan bans many stores from selling seeds. Wait a minute, what? Hang on a second. What is this one? This was a long time ago. The left wouldn't even let you. Oh, this is back when they. So, Gretchen Whitmer and Tudor Dixon, is that their name, over there in Michigan, had a debate, and they were talking about all the shit that Whitler did during the pandemic when she wouldn't let you buy seeds and gardening supplies during COVID-19, as if gardening was going to get you COVID, being outside and doing stuff in your garden. But anyway, so that's over there on Parler. That's reminding that. Also, I think it's interesting because I don't see anything about that debate. Hang on a second. I know there was, let's see. Oh, here it is. Yeah, big league politics. Fetterman, here's a good headline. Fetterman makes Joe Biden look like a Mensa member by comparison. Ooh, that's rough. Let's see. Let's click that link. So here's the and this I want to talk about this day because we're talking about the horse races and oh my God, the pop-ups are a little daunting here. Off my screen, funny guy with the funny hair. Watch John Fetterman's many lowlights in last night's Pennsylvania Senate debate. Why isn't this working? There we go. Oh, that's a weird combination of pictures. The Dendel and the putting an ice cube on a burger. We're going that didn't make sense. Anyway, U.S. Senate campaign of far left gargoyle. Now this is big league politics. They lean right, obviously. Good morning, Somnambule Nation. Left-wing gargoyle John Fetterman may have taken a death blow during yesterday's debate against Dr. Mehmet Oz, as Fetterman struggled to put together a coherent sentence at any point during the debate. Fetterman has been leading in the polls for months, but that may not last long after the mask was finally ripped off during yesterday's debate. Fetterman's lack of cognitive abilities make President Mushbrain Joe Biden look sharp as a Ginsu by comparison. Here are some of Fetterman's worst lowlights from the debate. Well, let's do this because I was going to do this anyway. In fact, I had. I'm on Getter. I'll just point out here. Here I am on Getter too. So I'm on all these alternative platforms. What the hell was that? So anyway, let's go back to this headline. So if you follow me on any of those sites, or if you're on any of those sites, and you some of you are Twitter challenged, I realize that. For example, Tyre, they may never let you back on. I'm just saying. But anyway, gargoyle, more of a troglodyte. Okay, close. It's in the ballpark. Okay. All right, let's watch some of the lowlights from the debate last night. Now, let me qualify this real quick. I don't necessarily believe that Dr. Oz is the greatest candidate on the planet. Okay, let's just settle that once and for all. Although he made some points last night that I agree with, particularly when they got to a section about abortion, and he was talking about, would Dr. Oz support Lindsey Graham's Senate bill proposal federally restricting abortions? Now, the Supreme Court made a point saying that should be in state legislation, right? And I thought, so why is Lindsey Graham proposing a federal law? And I agree with that. I think that the states should be able to determine what they're going to do within their states. Since it's not a federal, there's no federal rights, there's no federal amendment, there's no federal, there's no constitutional right to that. And so Dr. Oz, that was his answer too. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I've been waiting for some Republican to say that wait a minute, why are we even proposing a federal law? But anyway, but otherwise, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Oz, but whatever. So here's some of Fetterman's lowlights. And I don't think I can expand these, so I'm just going to put them on, let's try them center here, unless they give me an option to do this. Here's how Fetterman opens the debate.
As lieutenant governor, you're running for a seat that could decide the balance of power in Washington. What qualifies you to
Oh, sorry about that.
Senator, you have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody. I'm running to serve Pennsylvania. He's running to use Pennsylvania.
Okay, I guess that's the only part of that they're going to show. So now, look, and again, I'm not doing this to belittle his stroke condition, but is he ready to be a U.S. Senator? And I don't think so. Also, here, Oz says you've not paid your taxes. How do you respond? Here it is.
Mr. Fetterman, I will allow a 15-second rebuttal. He has specifically said you have not paid your taxes and that you want to raise taxes on Americans. How do you respond?
Absolutely. The Oz rule, of course, he's lying. It was helping two students 17 years ago to help them buy their own homes. They didn't pay the bills, and it got her paid. And it has never been an issue in any of the campaign before. It was all about nonprofit.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fetterman. Continuing with you, Mr. Fetterman, your opponent.
I have no idea how that answered the question. Also, why hasn't released his medical records?
Primary. Last week, you released this note from your doctor saying you can work full duty in public office, but you have not released your detailed medical records surrounding your stroke. Mr. Fetterman, will you pledge tonight to release those records in the interest of transparency? You have 60 seconds.
No. To me, for transparency is about showing up. I'm here today to have a debate. I have speeches in front of 3,000 people in Montgomery County, all across Pennsylvania, big crowds. I believe if my doctor believes that I'm fit to serve, and that's what I believe is appropriate. And now with 2 weeks before the election, I have run a campaign, and I've been very transparent about being very open about the fact we're in use captioning. And I believe that, again, my doctors, the real doctors that I believe in, they all believe that I'm ready to be served.
Follow up, I didn't hear you say you would release your full medical records. Why not? You have 30 seconds.
No. Again, my doctor all believes that I'm fit to be serving, and that's what I believe is where I'm standing.
Okay, Mr.
You tend to feel bad for him, but it's hard for him just to get out a word. And then this one.
Choice.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fetterman. A follow-up question on this. Our Next Star poll shows 51% of Pennsylvania voters disapprove of the president's job performance. You have publicly supported many of his policy positions. Are there any that you disagree with? 30 seconds.
No, I just believe he needs.
Now, that pause is what they're highlighting here. And there's a claim that the equipment, the teleprompter equipment they're using to caption some of the questions, because he has a difficult time processing people talking to him, but he has an easier time when he can read it. And I don't know if he realized that question was him. That's my guess. And then finally looked down and realized, oh, that was for me. But and then he tried
to do more about supporting and fighting about inflation, and I do believe he can do more about that.
Okay, that wasn't the complete answer. And then finally, I'm not going to show there's only two left, so let's watch the last two. Let's see here.
Dr. Oz, loves free money when it's a $500,000 tax break on one of his, homes down in a ranch in Florida, and whether it was a $50 tax break, about his farm in Montgomery County. So it's about supporting and helping, young earners, young students to give them a break. I believe that supporting.
Okay, that was the question was about student loan debt relief, and then finally, we'll do the one more, and then we'll move on.
Dr. Oz,
Whoops. And then this last one, I don't know if this is when he closed, but let's try this one.
How critical it is that we produce our own energy and create energy independence.
I must correct the record.
Just a second, Mr. Oz. I do want to clarify something. You're saying tonight that you support fracking, that you've always supported fracking, but there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, I don't support fracking at all. So how do you square the two?
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand and I do support fracking.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fetterman.
I'm sorry, Lisa. There's not just a statement you.
Okay, so anyway, he was struggling, and in the aftermath of the debate, Dr. Oz surged up in the predict betting markets as people realized that Fetterman is perhaps. I don't like this language. The most inept, unfit U.S. Senate candidate in political history. I gotta be honest. He rivals Herschel Walker, but anyway, well, maybe Herschel Walker's not the most inept. Herschel actually did pretty well in his debate with Warnock, I think. But Oz has gone from being a long shot who was struggling mightily to gain support among Pennsylvania voters with Fetterman as the front runner to the strong favorite to win the U.S. Senate seat, according to the bettors, Pennsylvania Senate betting trends. That's via Interactive Polls. I don't know if Interactive Polls is one of those online deals, but anyway, I thought it was fascinating. Real quick, thank you, Chicago Mike, for being the first sponsor of the show. And Mike, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much. Donating a big bullet to the cause. Who says Fetterman? What is it called? A colon? It's colon, semicolon, colon, semicolon, colon. Quote: Who am I? Why am I here? Well, I don't know if it's that bad, Mike. He knows who he is. In fact, I think he knows who he is better than Joe Biden does, but that's just me. I'm just guessing. All right, so let's move on. Now, I think I have some bookmark stuff here. So the big topic, one of the big topics on Twitter today is that debate. And it's interesting because one of their headers is the Pennsylvania Race 22, Oz and Fetterman date recap. Mehmet Oz and John Fetterman faced off in Harrisburg Tuesday night for their first and only debate in this year's Pennsylvania Senate race. Now, this is from the Philadelphia Inquirer, and this is the thread. Is this the thread? I think it is. No, it's not. The Penn Senate debate featured significant discussions of serious policy issues, inflation, abortion, gun laws, crime, fracking, and other topics, but much of it covered positions that candidates had long staked out. And so they gave some takeaways here. I'm not going to go through their article, but if you want to read how the Philadelphia Inquirer sees it, I don't know that they, it's interesting because they are talking about how Oz, what the hell, get off my screen. Oh, is this one of those? I thought this was, yeah, it is. Never mind. We're not going to do the Philadelphia Inquirer. Forget that. But their thing is, that Oz didn't answer some questions and then Fetterman didn't answer some questions. At the beginning of the debate, neither really answered questions. But the big thing you could see was the cognitive difficulties that Fetterman was having. And I think his mind works, but his brain doesn't translate his mind to his mouth. And that seemed to be a real problem. Let's see here. But we're going to move on. Oh my God, I forgot about this. We'll move that to the back because this is going to be something that if I have time, we're definitely going to look at that thing that I'm not showing you right now. Also, I was telling you that there's a new poll showing that DeSantis has opened up a 14-point lead over Charlie Crist in the governor's race. Excuse me. I'm starting to sound like that Pennsylvania guy. But small caveat. This is, I don't know who Interactive is, and I don't know how they do their polls, but they did happen to link the Tallahassee Democrat, which is a newspaper in Tallahassee, not a Democrat newspaper, just the name of the newspaper. And they're quoting USA Today Network article, Tallahassee, less than 2 weeks before the November 8th election, Republican Governor Ron DeSantis and Republican Senator Marco Rubio hold double-digit leads over their Democratic opponents. A new poll shows in the race for governor, DeSantis is ahead of Democratic challenger Charlie Crist by 14 points, 55-41, according to a poll released Wednesday by the University of North Florida's Public Opinion Research Lab. Less than 1% of those surveyed said they would vote for someone else, and 4% were undecided or refused to answer. In the U.S. Senate race, the poll found that Rubio is well ahead of Democratic U.S. Representative Val Demings, 54-43%. Just 3% said they didn't know who they preferred or refused to answer. The surprise in these numbers is that a statewide race in Florida is closer to a blowout than a recount, said Dr. Michael Binder, PORL faculty, and that's PORL, is that Public Opinion Research Lab. Faculty director and UNF political science professor. Florida has become a red state. It will likely take an exceptionally weak Republican candidate for Democrats to win statewide, and Rubio is not a weak candidate. So that's very interesting that Florida has been a toss-up state for a long time. I mean, I remember back in especially 2000, 2004, 2008, even though there were pretty close races in those states. But now it seems to be solidly red. Well, it kind of went blue during the Obama years, but since in the last few couple election cycles, it's been fairly solidly a red state. Let's see. Is refusing to answer, in fact, still an answer? Well, yeah, kind of, if you ask me. Let's see. How many fingers am I holding up? Green. Good morning, Unacceptable Views. Nice to see you. Straight Sith Mail, good morning. Why are you so angry? Good morning. I think when they have their strokes and their brain is erased, they're fed lies that they can regurgitate and babble to us. I wonder who keeps causing Democrat politicians to have strokes and who is actually reprogramming them. Well, yeah, because didn't Joseph Rahim Biden have a stroke at some point a while ago? I don't know. Did he? I can't remember. Maybe I need some reprogramming. All right, and then as I said earlier, this according to The Hill, Warnock leads Herschel Walker by 2 in the Georgia Senate race. I'll open the article from The Hill just to see obviously it's going to say the same line at the beginning. Warnock leads his Republican challenger, former NFL star Herschel Walker, by 2 points among likely voters. Now, that's important, too, among likely voters. Here's the thing. Also, right now, turnout in Georgia, there's like record early voting turnout. Now, I don't know if that means that people are just deciding to take advantage of early voting more than they have in the past. But early voting tends to lean toward Democrats, and also, they're having this thing about, voter suppression in Georgia. Well, the black voter turnout in Georgia right now, especially in early voting, at least from their surveys, is off the charts. So apparently the attempt to suppress the black vote is failing. Remember Jim Crow 2.0, as Joe Biden put it? Well, you can kiss my ass with that bullshit. Now, let's see. Also, the other day on The View, we showed the Ted Cruz clip. Well, the hags, the cacklers at The View are not fans of Ron DeSantis, but one of the panelists on The View, I think, put a little stick in their eyes or something. As the co-host said that shuts down the panelist's shot at DeSantis. The View co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin disputed her fellow co-host's shot at Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, arguing Many of his policies are popular with voters. Oh my God, how could that be? That racist, sexist, transphobe. It's amazing. Griffin adamantly said that DeSantis will win his re-election bid against Democratic Florida gubernatorial candidate Charlie Crist, given his consistent lead in the polls. As we just saw, she named the governor's education and immigration policies as being popular among the people of Florida. Let's see. Should we just listen to the hens cackle a little bit? Let's listen to this. Oh, God, I'm going to get an ad. I don't want to ad. Come on. Faster.
You deserve more internet
no,
than what
I don't
you get
deserve
from just
this
your
ad.
cell phone.
Shut
Get free
the
high-speed
fuck up.
internet
It
at
won't
home
even,
with
oh, no,
Internet
it's not
Essentials
giving
Plus
me
and
a
the Affordable
choice.
Connectivity Program.
You
Enjoy
son of a
unlimited data,
gun.
no annual
I don't
contract,
want to
and
see your
equipment included at
commercial.
no extra
Get off
cost.
my
Connect to more
screen.
of what you love for free with Xfinity. Click, call, or visit a store to learn more.
Isn't there a better one? Here, let's try it here. Oh, good God.
Why do dogs
Two
get
ads.
mushy poops?
Two
and achy
ads.
joints? Most
I don't
importantly,
want two
why do so many
ads.
dogs die before their time? There's a lot of reasons, but
And
in
why
my
does so
experience,
many
almost
dogs?
every aspect.
Okay, here we go.
Pacing Republicans
hate
in
this
terms
one.
of returning votes.
That's all well said. I do think that Florida is where Democrats may be misreading the political mood more than anywhere.
Misreading?
Ron DeSantis has consistently performed 10 points.
They're off their rockers thinking that DeSantis going to lose. Sorry.
Pacing.
Oops. There we go.
That's all well said. I do think that Florida is where Democrats may be misreading the political mood more than anywhere. Ron DeSantis has consistently performed 10 points up over Charlie Crist. Even on the issue, which I've spoken out against, I hated the flying migrants to Martha's Vineyard. I thought that was ridiculous theater. 50% of Hispanic voters in the state of Florida supported that action. By and large, Florida is the state the most people are flocking to, 4 times more than any other state. So you can call him DeSantis, you can call him whatever you'd like. He's going to win the state of Florida.
I thought that was for tax.
Well, you know what? Until you can say that you can see the crystal ball, nobody knows who's going to win the state of Florida.
Oh, for
nobody
fuck's
knows.
sake.
I mean, that's the
Cope.
thing.
Cope, Whoopi. Cope, Whoopi.
I say this to everybody
Jesus.
for a reason, because I feel like it is a responsibility for us to remind everyone that it's your job to get out and vote in your state. It's your job. So that's why I said that. But go ahead.
He has a 14-point lead in the polls. You can do your best. You can get because this is Cope. This is Cope right here.
You are right, and we're still a couple weeks out from election, and we've seen crazy things happen in final days. But one of the things that I feel very strongly about that I think DeSantis has done right is he tried to keep kids in the classroom during COVID.
Ding.
I know many voters who have said, I will never vote for a politician who kept kids out of the classroom. We've seen the stats now about how much it's put our kids behind.
Causing
losing
Gretchen
nearly a
Whitler
year
a
of education.
problem. We'll get to it.
Children are alive now because we kept them out of the
there was
state.
a
Whoa. Did she just say children are alive because we kept them out of the classroom? You mean the kids that this is how insular their bubble is. Does she know the COVID stats for children at all? Does she think that kids were dying off from COVID? Does she not know that it mostly affected older people and obese people of older ages? That oh my God, she's stupid. Oh, she's stupid.
If there had been a way to do it right, the guy that you were over there with would have done it right.
Oh, we picked a lot of ideas he didn't take. There were a lot of.
I know you did, but the people that did it right saved those kids' lives. Yeah, it's gonna.
And how many? Oh, hold it. Save what kids' lives? Was there a shit ton of kids dying off of Florida because they got them back in the schools? I don't think so. So what is she talking about?
It's going to be a little harder to get them to pull them up where they are, but they're here. And that's the difference.
I think kids deserve better than
The kids in Florida are here, and they're doing much better everywhere else.
And I said, why can't they just leave everybody back a year? Now, in some situations.
Oh, my God. Why can't they just hold all kids back a year then? That's your solution, Joy. Anyone want to take a crack at that one? Oh, my God.
situations, they are exactly doing that. Not everybody, but most kids who are falling should be held back a year. That's all. So you graduated 18 instead of 17. What's the big deal?
Oh my God, she doesn't even know what year most kids graduate at 18, don't they? That's the normal. You graduate at 18 normally. Now, unless you started school early, you might graduate at 17. But most kids graduate at 18, and so it'd be holding them back to their 19. Boy, she's dumb. She's dumb.
A lot of school choice organizations, though, that did hybrid education. They did some in-person education. They gave homeschool parents the resources that they need. The idea that we just give up on kids for a year, you can protect their health while educating children.
No, you couldn't. If we could have figured out how to do that, if we had known what we were dealing with, if we had
they did it in Florida,
like you're asking for, we would have had this information. But we didn't, and people did the best they could in the great states that did it, in the bad states that didn't get it together the way they should have. Everybody did their best.
And they did their
now
best.
we have to
misinformation from the Trump administration.
Yes.
The people that took the biggest hit, though, were the ones without money. The socioeconomic lowest among us are the ones because they didn't have the access.
Stupid people. Anyway, we're going to move on. After we have another Streamlabs prioritized chat from Chicago. Mike said, Whoopi, it's your job to get out and vote. Democrats in your state. Yeah, that's basically what she was saying. She's asking Democrats to get out and vote. She's not asking everybody to get out and vote because she doesn't want everyone to get out and vote because they believe that if it's not Democrats in power, then you've lost your democracy because that's the theme right now. All right, I got to move on here. Where are we at? Right here. Let's go here. This is interesting because about that Fetterman debate. This is apparently the Fetterman campaign, and a lot of Democrats were complaining that the closed caption machine that John Fetterman was using to be able to help understand what the questions were, they said it was working improperly, it was slow, blah, 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 and he couldn't answer the questions. So here's a statement from the parent company NXST Media Group in response to John Fetterman's campaign claiming he was working off delayed captions filled with errors during last night's Pennsylvania Senate debate on News Nation. Statement from Nexstar Media Group. Both candidates agreed to the technical setup for the closed captioning process weeks ago, which was implemented at the request of the Fetterman campaign. Both candidates were offered the opportunity for 2 full rehearsals with the same equipment used in tonight's debate. Mr. Fetterman chose to do only one. In fact, Nexstar's production team went to extraordinary lengths to ensure the effectiveness of the closed captioning process and to accommodate several last-minute requests of the Fetterman campaign. The closed captioning process functioned as expected during rehearsal and again during tonight's debate. We regret that Mr. Fetterman and his campaign feel otherwise. Interesting. I would say, where is it? Oh my God, I can't find my damn thing. It should be right there.
Gotcha, bitch.
Anyway. So that's interesting. Let's see. I'm just going to go down the order that I have things in. So anyway, here's an article by Jonathan Turley, who's a professor, I believe, at Princeton University. He's a professor of law. Let's see what it says down here. Oh, this is just his own post on JonathanTurley.org. But I found this fascinating. So bringing up Fetterman's performance last night is raising Fetterman's cognitive issues a form of discriminatory ableism, because there's the charge now that you're just being an ableist, because if you ever criticize anything, you have to be an ist or an ism. Well, let's hear Jonathan Turley's take on this, because I think it's interesting. Many of us watched the debate of John Fetterman and Republican Mehmet Oz last night, and it was at times very difficult to watch. Fetterman is clearly still experiencing serious problems in cognitive processing and communication after a stroke 5 months ago. However, when some raised disconnected or incomprehensible responses, commentators like MSNBC's Liz Plank objected to such criticisms as discriminatory ableism. The Philadelphia Inquirer wrote that these questions only reflect our discomfort with disabilities. Okay. Look. Well, let me just read this and I'm going to make a point afterwards. I felt an enormous amount of sympathy in watching Fetterman struggle last night. This is terribly difficult for any stroke victim, and I give him credit for soldiering on with his campaign. However, Plank and others suggest that recognizing a serious question over the incapacity of a politician is now considered discriminatory and hateful. Well, my God, then half the country must be ableist when they look at their president. But anyway, there's been allegations that Democratic operatives hid the extent of the stroke from voters, which occurred shortly before he was given the Democratic nomination. Since then, Fetterman has been closely protected from reporters seeking to ask him questions. Before the debate, NBC reporter Dasha Burns was attacked for merely noting that Fetterman did not appear to be able to process questions or comments before one of his relatively rare interviews. Fetterman's wife demanded an apology as others piled on Burns as an ableist. Oh, you terrible ableist. Another ist. Giselle Fetterman told The Independent, "I would love to see an apology towards the disability community from her and from her network for the damage they have caused." Really? All right, let me ask you something. I'm going to make the point now. Okay, let's say that I need to get to the airport. Okay? Now, in this hypothetical, I also happen to be blind. Okay? And I need to get to the airport, and I'm calling the cab company, right? Better yet, I'll call it Uber. I'm going to call it Uber, right? And I call the Uber, all right, well, it's hard on my phone because I have to use the voice text because I'm blind, right? So I use the voice functions on my phone to hire myself an Uber to get to the airport, right? So if I ask for an Uber and I am blind, if I find out that my Uber driver is also blind, would I be an ableist for saying, well, probably don't want my Uber driver to be blind because we're probably going to, first of all, I don't even know how he's going to find my house. And second of all, how are we ever going to get to the airport? Because I need to be at the airport. So is that being an ableist? If someone cannot function in a job that requires a certain skill set and they have the ability to have that skill set, would it be important for me to say, maybe I don't want that person doing the job? I don't know if that's being ableist. I don't know, Now, so anyway, that's my point. Let's see. From the outset, it was clear that Fetterman was continuing like I do, continuing residual damage from the stroke when he started by telling the audience, "Hi, good night." When I saw that last night, I'm like, whoa, is this debate over already? Anyway, there were also glaring contractions on his record, including a strikingly false statement on his opposition to fracking. Fetterman repeatedly opposed fracking in prior years, but categorically denied that past opposition in the debate. Come on, Susan. The debate was all the more important due to the fact that Fetterman will not agree to anything more than a single-hour debate with closed captioning technology. He has also limited any ability of reporters or voters to ask him questions at events. The voters have a legitimate interest in seeing how their senator will respond to issues and opposing views. Political reporter Natalie Allison stated the obvious that, quote, "The ability to process conversation in real time and respond is a lingering challenge, and that was absolutely a real issue tonight for Federism." Yet Plank denounced critics as engaging in discriminatory ableism. When your side is so bad, you have to rely on ableism to win. Wow. Such charges are common on college campuses, where the term is defined as the privileging of ability and results in the oppression of disabled people based on real or perceived impairments, others' disabilities, chronic illnesses, and neurological or mental illness. Now, college students are stupid, so I don't care what they think. But anyway, The question is, however, whether a senatorial candidate's difficulty in processing or communicating is discriminatory. It is clear that a senator can use closed captioning in hearings to understand questions. The same is true for communicating with staff in the office or some other forums. 2 U.S. senators recently suffered strokes. Representative Bill Lojan of New Mexico suffered a stroke and required physical therapy in his recovery. Senator Mark Kirk of Illinois returned to the Senate after a year after suffering a stroke. Staff stated in a 2015 article in The Atlantic that the stroke caused continuing difficulties for Kirk, who lost his 2016 bid for re-election. I agree that the diminishment of speaking abilities from a stroke should not be treated as a de facto barrier in public service. The issue has come up in EEOC cases dealing with the exception for bona fide occupational qualifications under federal law. These cases may offer some insight to the balancing of interests. The EEOC defines a qualified individual with a disability as a person with a disability who meets all of the position's legitimate job requirements and can perform the essential functions of the position with or without a reasonable accommodation. Anyway, he goes on, for example, he gives the definition. The EEO posts a letter on this issue as instructive. There is no BFOQ defense in the ADA. Accordingly, an employer may not defend a disability-based employment action by asserting that the absence of a disability is a BFOQ. An employer, however, may assert that other defenses under the ADA. For example, an employer may defend the use of a qualification standard that screens out an individual on the basis of a disability by showing that the standard is job-related and consistent with business necessity, like driving a cab. You can't be blind and drive a cab. In that respect, an employer must show that the standard is an accurate measure of the individual's ability to perform the essential functions of the position at issue. An employer may justify a safety-based standard by showing the existence of a direct threat, i.e. significant risk of substantial harm that cannot be reduced or eliminated through reasonable accommodation. Now, a stroke is a disability, and there should be reasonable accommodations in the workplace. In most cases, such reasonable accommodations can and should be made. Yet, according to Liz Plank, and some others, pundits and voters who question the ability of Fetterman to be an effective senator are engaging in ableism. I do not agree as a general matter. The ability to process information and communicate are clearly essential functions in representing a state in Congress. The problem is that we do not know the extent of the damage from a stroke, whether reasonable accommodations in the workplace are possible, because he will not give or present his medical records, which he doesn't have to. There's no requirement, but it seems like it would be a good for transparency. Let's see. There was the EEOC settlement in 2013 with an employee who was thought to have suffered a stroke due to facial paralysis. The facial appearance was due to Bell's palsy, the EEOC lawyer stated. And then the EEOC also sued on behalf of a truck driver who was not accommodated after a minor stroke. Let's see. And then they talk about Biden. But anyway, so it's interesting if people are raising that issue. Let's move on. In the New York Post today, Dearborn. Oh, I'll save that for later too, because that's not really politics related, but it is something I want to get to eventually. Let's see, and this is going to go to the back too. This is something Gunfox gave me that's important, but I'll get to it. Let's go. Oh, goodness gracious. PA Senate debate other disaster for Fetterman. So here's another article in PJ Mini. I'm going to skip this one since we've kind of already knocked this one to the ground, but lots of the same clips that Greg Price put up in the other article are in this one. Let's move on to, and there's another one in Breitbart. We'll skip that. Let's talk about Lee Zeldin, though, in New York, because he's surging against Kathy Hochul, America's second to worst governor, I guess. Fired up Lee Zeldin brings the fight to Governor Hochul, decisively wins only New York governor debate. Here's an example. Let's see. Oh, there's going to be an ad in this. Lee Zeldin and Kathy Hochul, public safety. Let's just talk. Loading ad. Turn the ad off.
Hey, Mom,
I hate
if I could
this.
talk, what would I tell you?
I would say, turn this ad off.
First thing I'll do right after I'm sworn into office is turning the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg to let him know that he's being removed. And it's from day one that he was a district attorney. He said that he was not going to enforce all different kinds of laws across the board.
You want to respond?
I'd be happy to. I'm not surprised because in Lee Zeldin's world, you overturn elections you don't agree with. But for someone who voted to overturn a presidential election, I'm not surprised. He just thinks whenever he wants to do something, he can just undo the will of the people.
A question gets posed about a Manhattan DA who refuses to enforce the law, and all that my opponent can come up with is talking about the last election. Think about that.
All right, so that's interesting. Anyway, let's
let's also talk about the elephant.
If Governor Kathy Hochul was going to give him only one debate, Representative Lee Zeldin wasn't going to waste a second making nice. The Republican challenger brought the fight and focus that he has displayed on the campaign trail and scored a decisive victory Tuesday night. This wasn't a knockout, but a victory on points because he made specific and realistic promises to improve life in New York. Hochul, meanwhile, mostly played defense. Even when she played well, she never really laid out a vision of what 4 more years would look like and how they would be different from now. In an election where voters all across the spectrum demand big changes, any hint that you are satisfied with the status quo is a loser, and that's why she failed. The debate was lively from the start. Zeldin looking over-caffeinated and Hochul nervous. The moderators did a good job of peppering them with substantive questions and controlling the clock. Although 1 hour and one showdown was not nearly enough to give voters a complete picture, those who watched the limited broadcast saw a fair microcosm of the campaign. Now, if it was a limited broadcast, if it didn't go statewide, if it wasn't, people aren't paying attention, then who knows if this is going to help Lee Zeldin at all. But Zeldin did Tuesday what he has done for months, doggedly fault the incumbent and offer big plans for big reforms, especially on matters of crime, taxes, energy policy, and spending cuts. He was also effective in hitting her on the outrageous pay-to-play pattern that is undeniable. By contrast, Hochul has barely campaigned, foolishly taking victory for granted because of her party label, and her rust was apparent. She also agreed to only one single debate in the primary, and as she did then, came stuffed with packaged comeback lines but few promises. Her fallback position was never to miss an opportunity to mention abortion and Donald Trump, as if that would be enough to give her a full term of her own. In an ordinary year, that might be the case, but it's a sign of how volatile American politics is at the top job in New York. And the top job in New York is even in play for the first time in 20 years, and she's misjudging the public mood by playing it safe. In fact, she spent the summer and most of the fall refusing to leave the Rose Garden in an inexplicable mistake in what looks like a red wave this year. Her inert strategy has helped turn the race into what polls say is a toss-up. So the fact that that's a toss-up in New York is pretty incredible. Hello, Diego Pony, my favorite Canadians in the house. So anyway, you can read the rest of that one. Also in that race, Hochul on the need to lock up criminals. I don't know why that's so important to you. That's exactly what New Yorkers want to hear. New York Governor Kathy Hochul, when challenged on cash bail reform and her refusal to discuss locking up criminals by Representative Lee Zeldin during Tuesday night's debate, said, I don't know why that's so important to you. We're halfway through the debate, and she still hasn't talked about locking anyone up committing crimes, Zeldin said, to which Hochul responded, anyone who commits a crime under our laws, especially with the change we've made to bail, has consequences. I don't know why that's so important to you. Here it is. I guess we're going to hear the same line.
They're not being represented from this governor, who still, to this moment, we're halfway through the debate, she still hasn't talked about locking up anyone committing any crimes.
Okay.
Anyone who commits a crime under our laws, especially with the change they made to bail, has consequences.
Wait, if there's changes they made to bail, then they don't have no bail? The new law, remember we talked about that new law where they do no bail? What are the consequences then? If they show up for court, they might get a trial? I don't know that about
I
that.
don't know why that's so important to you. All I know is that we could do more.
Well, when I said
we
that
could
we
do
should
more.
remove
Excuse me, I'm speaking.
Sure, go ahead.
We could do so much more if there was a nationwide ban, but certainly a state ban on teenagers being able to get guns, assault weapons. I mean, that's what happened
in New York. What? Is that a big problem in New York? What does that have to do? Oh, my God. She got her line in. She got the assault weapon line in. Anyway, this comes from Zeldin. This comes as Zeldin has dramatically narrowed Hochul's lead in the closing days of the race. And they do a couple other things in there, but we'll keep going because now I'm running out of time. Tim Ryan, the U.S. Senate candidate in Ohio, he's fairly left-wing, but he's pretending to be a moderate. And he wore a mask and informed a throng of 19. He had a rally. He had a town hall, and 19 people showed up. Now, I don't know what town it is, but he told the throng of 19, we're super excited about this race. We're going to win it by more than people think. Here's an example of Tim Ryan's town hall and church. Woo, look at all the people there. Oh, there's more than 19. Now, come on. There's at least, let's see, there's 4, and there's 4 more, that's 8. And then a kid there, I'll count the kid just to be generous. There's 4 more, that's 12, yep. And there's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's 9, I already counted him. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back. There's 20, 21, 22. 23 people showed up for a town hall for Tim Ryan. Way to go, Tim. Way to go, Tim. There's 22. Oh, boy. Anyway, how would you like to be 2 weeks out of a hotly contested and consequential election and only have 22, not 19, Breitbart? Breitbart's lying. Where's the fact checkers from PolitiFact and the Washington Post? Ryan's opponent, J.D. Vance, jumped all over the video with some Tuesday morning sarcasm. I woke up today feeling really good about our campaign, Vance tweeted, but then I saw the massive enthusiastic crowd addressed by masked Tim Ryan, and I realized we could be in trouble. Okay, that's a little snarky. And let's see, Vance with stops all over Southern Ohio on Tuesday, standing room only. Well, that's, you know what, I can't tell you that that's necessarily really standing room only either. I'm looking at this picture that they tweeted out. I can't say there's that many more in this picture, but I guess there are more people back here standing up. And he's in small venues. I mean, look at this. This is not exactly, if that's 30 people, I'd be shocked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that's only 30 people. So what's he talking about? Come on. I've got a feeling that any of these candidates, well, maybe the Senate candidates holding town halls, they're not getting gigantic crowds. Nobody's going to see these people. I wouldn't go to, if there was a town hall in Eagan, or in the town I live in, or Rosemont, or somewhere near me, I'd be like, would I go to cover it as someone who does citizen journalism? I don't know. Maybe. Anyway. Now on to Michigan. Republican Tudor Dixon slams Whitler. And Biden open border policies allowing fentanyl to pour into Michigan. Which is, that's what they do. Let's see. What is it? Is this the whole debate? Tell you what, here's what I'm going to do. This looks like the whole thing.
Dixon?
And I did not.
Well, we've seen a massive increase in overdoses. 2021 was the highest number we've ever seen. And we can directly correlate this to the Whitmer-Biden policies of having an open border. We know that drugs are pouring across our border.
Now, I do not like this. What's it called? It's a strategy. There's a name for this when they have this method that all of the candidates use when they say the Whitmer-Biden policy of immigration. Now, granted, I'm sure Gretchen Whitler, whatever the hell her name is, certainly supports the Biden administration and its policies. But it's not a Whitler policy. Tactic, something like that. Anyway, but I get it. They're trying to, the Republicans are trying to tie all Democratic candidates to an unpopular president. And Democrats all want to say that Republicans want to to outlaw or criminalize all women who get abortions, even in the case of rape and incest, because that's what every single Democrat ad says, or what every Democrat debater says, that the Republican wants to outlaw this and outlaw that. Strategery. There you go. That's it. That's what I meant. So anyway, it's a construct. No, what's the word? There's a word. I can't think of the word. But we'll keep going. Finish your sentence here.
Every day, we've seen overdoses rise since this administration took office. It's been devastating, and that's why I've presented my Safe State plan to put $1 billion new into policing to make sure we have enough police on the streets. I just went to the Oakland County Crime Lab the other day. The woman there was testing two giant blocks of cocaine, and then she pulled out one of fentanyl.
I got your farfig.
I said, "Where did that come from?" And she told me it had come from just down the street in Pontiac at a house. I asked her how many people that fentanyl could kill, and she said millions. If we had more officers on the streets, we could be preventing a lot more overdose deaths. I want to make sure that we have the backs of our cops, and we invest in our cops, and we make sure they have what they need to fight.
Okay, got it. If you want to watch this debate, I will link it in the links as soon as I get the link here. Copy link. There we go. All right. So we'll, I'm probably going to watch it later because I'm a glutton for punishment, but we'll also put it here in the links today. By the way, all the links to everything that we're doing today will be in the description of both the YouTube and Rumble description of this video.
2 giant blocks of cocaine.
Shut up.
And
I will post or fix those after the, what do you call it? After the show's over, during the outro. All right, let's move on. Let's see. That's, oh, we already did that one. Let's see. Let's move on. This is Tudor Dixon again. Oh, how'd I go backwards here? That's not what I wanted to do. Here we go. All right. Now, Daily Caller believes that the floodgates just opened for a red tsunami. According to an analysis, Republicans could win another 12 to 15 seats in the House of Representatives in a massive sweep this November. A new analysis from Cook Political Report predicted. Now, Cook's pretty good. Cook does a pretty good job of this kind of stuff, so maybe I'll take this. The prediction presents what? The predictions? Oh, the predictions present an even more optimistic situation for Republicans than Cook's last analysis, which predicted a 10 to 20 seat gain for the Republicans. Seats with Democratic incumbents were moved from likely D yes, likely D. All right. Anyway, to toss up in as opposed to tosser in 4 races, and 2 races with Democratic incumbents were moved from toss up to likely Republican in this week's analysis. Enthusiasm is on our side, as evidenced by historic turnout for Republican primaries and early voting. A GOP spokesman told the Daily Caller News Foundation Americans are rejecting Democrats' failures from high places to out-of-control crime to their woke agenda. Democrats are hemorrhaging support among voters across every state, district, and demographic. So that's interesting. There seems to be a trend towards Republican candidates. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Next. And here, this is I found this one interesting. So here's the Democrats' closing argument for the 22 midterms. So Election Day is just days away. On November 8th, 2022, voters in some states have already cast their ballots. Others will not rely on COVID-era mail-in ballots and instead walk their vote into the election offices themselves. What a strange thing that people do. Hello, Ryan R. The nation's Democrat leaders believe you should vote them in power for another term at the midterm election, and like every election year, Democrats have a closing argument to motivate you to vote them. So here are the things that Democrats are saying to motivate you, who may be undecided about your vote, to vote for them. 1, Here's their closing argument. America's net worth has been reduced by $75,000 since Joe Biden took office, according to the Heritage Foundation. Well, I don't think that's one of their closing arguments. Inflation is rampant from overspending and destroying savings and retirement accounts, which are down by 20% from when Joe Biden took office. Well, they're saying that? That's weird. Inflation has destroyed 25% of the average 401k plan in 2022 alone. I don't think they're saying that. What is this article you gave me? What the hell is this? U.S. has only a 25-day supply of diesel fuel right now. I have an article about that, by the way. Gas prices are the highest in American history. Is this the Democrats' closing argument? I'm not sure about this. Heating oil has shot up by 40% plus in the last few weeks and is in short supply going into winter. Wow. Joe Biden reduced the U.S. fuel supply, ending American dominance, and begs for oil from despots. This is a really weird Democratic argument for the midterms. Is this ringing a bell for you? I don't know. Democrats turn off reliable sources of energy and pour money into sun and wind power, which depend on the weather. Okay. And there's still a baby formula shortage. They haven't fixed that yet? Hello, Damien. The U.S. military is assessed as weak for the first time in the history of the Heritage Foundation Index of Military Strength. Wait a minute. Heritage Foundation? That's not Democrats. The Afghanistan bug out is the biggest, most embarrassing self-inflicted military disaster in U.S. history. 4 shots hollowed out the ranks of the military, police, and medical professionals, so-called first responders who went from heroes during 9/11 and COVID to zero when they disagreed with the regime, and wokeism has decimated the number of new recruits in the military. Well, at least the judge in New York is allowing those people who did not want to be forced to take the shot back into their jobs and so on and so forth. Holy shit. This is a long list. This is... It's a list of all the negativity. But you know what's missing in this, and I get it, what they're doing here. They're telling you what's really happening in the world, but I don't see any solutions here. So maybe they can come up with a solution, their next kind of spoof on what Democrats want to do. Now, this is weird. In Oregon, of all places, voters say they've lost patience with Democrats. That doesn't mean they're going to vote for Republicans. They're going to vote for more radical Democrats because it's Oregon. But anyway, when I drive through Portland, I'm scared. Yeah, I would be. After nearly 4 decades of Democratic control, voters in Oregon are ready for a change of leadership. Quote, I don't like the Democratic approach to anything that's happening, said Terry, who lives with her husband outside of Salem and dropped her party affiliation 2 years ago. I used to be a Democrat for 40 years. Like many voters who spoke to the Washington Free Beacon, Terry is fed up with President Joe Biden and Oregon Governor Kate Brown. She said both have attempted to woo progressives with policies that undermine public safety and contribute to record inflation. I want law and order. I want people who have committed crimes to be prosecuted, she said before gesturing to her liberal friend seated next to her. We want help for those who need it, not help for everybody like this administration is doing, just handing out money willy-nilly. Oh my gosh. Is she a real Oregonian? I don't know. The dissatisfaction is threatening Democratic gubernatorial candidate Tina Kotek's chances in Oregon, where voters rank crime and the economy as top concerns. Even after Biden visited the state to stump for Kotek, the Democrat trails her Republican opponent Christine Drazan in recent polls. Whoa! In Oregon? Are you serious? That's fascinating. You'll have to read the rest of that one. 60% of Oregon voters want police to step up enforcement against quality of life offenses such as public urination and homeless encampments. Yeah, and the Oregon district attorneys aren't prosecuting that shit. Wow. That's very interesting. That's the first time I read the article, so I didn't really see it in advance. All right, let me let's do this. Oh, I'm almost out of time. Oh, thank you for the donation from Likely D. Oh, yeah. Likely D says, Give the gift. The gift your girlfriend in life would love. Give her the likely D. Hell, even Brittany Griner would love likely D in Russia. Likely D, unless you're transgender. Oh yeah. Thank you, Likely D. I have a sneaky suspicion who that may have come from. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Dropping a deuce in the tip jar.
That's right.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. What do I have left here? I have some stuff left and I'm not done, but I'm also out of time. So let's see what we can do here. Remaining articles. I already told you that the state of New York, the Supreme Court of the state of New York has ordered New York City to reinstate unvaccinated employees and give back pay. The Staten Island Supreme Court judge ruled Tuesday that New York City cannot fire employees for not getting vaccinated against the stupid 19, dealing a blow to Democratic Mayor Eric Adams' pandemic policy. Judge Ralph Porzio ordered the city to reinstate all fired employees and grant them back pay, citing the fact that being vaccinated against the COOF does not stop an individual from catching or spreading the virus. Oh my gosh, they're starting to figure it out. You know, you can't get in trouble on YouTube for saying that anymore. At least I don't think so. We'll find out. Good. FTG Governor Adams, or Mayor Adams. Also, in the Daily Caller, we have another Elizabeth Warren situation here. Self-described Native American professor admits she has no proof of Native American ancestry. She just has relations to Elizabeth Warren. No, I don't know. Self-described Native American professor admitted Thursday that she has no proof of her alleged Native American identity, according to a mea culpa posted on the professor's website. University of California, Berkeley professor Elizabeth Hoover published a statement on her personal website stating that she had inaccurately identified as a member of the Mohawk and Mi'kmaq tribes throughout her entire life and professional career. Hoover attributed her inaccurate identity, to family lore passed down from her parents. So, you know that qualifies her for it, right? The United States Senate. All right, you read the article on your own. In the Free Beacon, it's the economy, stupid. Abortion is 7th ranking issue for Hispanic voters, according to a new poll. Abortion is the 7th most important issue for 7th. It's like I'm number 7. Important issue among Hispanic voters. A poll obtained by the Washington Free Beacon shows suggesting Democrats' abortion-centric messaging may fall flat with the crucial voting bloc. Hispanics rank cost of living and inflation, jobs in the economy, health care, crime, climate change, and immigration as more pressing issues than abortion. And yet Democrats are, I swear, I still, let's see, Angie Craig, who's my congressperson, I finally saw one ad for Angie Craig that didn't make abortion the most important issue. And I'm in a congressional district that kind of flips back and forth occasionally. It used to be solidly Republican, but then they changed the lines and included part of the suburb to the north of us, which is far more, they call them farmer labor, what do they call it? The FDL, Farmer Democrat Labor Party in Minnesota. But anyway, they're Democrats. It's far more Democrat-centric. But yeah, they've been putting all their eggs in the abortion basket. That's kind of a weird proximity of terms. But anyway, I don't think it's going to work. I really don't. So anyway, let's see. Also in the Washington Free Beacon, Michigan's Gretchen Whitler directs $236 million to electric battery executive who has already lost taxpayers millions of dollars. She lauded a historic investment after similar funding went to failed companies. So this is Gretchen Whitler's version of Solyndra. Michigan Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitler is making a $236 million taxpayer-funded bet on an electric battery executive whose last company lost taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. Whitmer on October 5th announced a $236 million incentive package for Our Next Energy, an electric vehicle battery startup that plans to build a factory in the Great Lakes State. Weeks later, the Democrat said she was proud to join the company's founder and CEO, Mujib Tazaz, at a ribbon-cutting ceremony, which saw Whitler laud Our Next Energy as innovative, historic, and cutting edge. But Tazaz has a troubled history with public funding. He's lost money. Oh, he got one of those grants from the Obama administration back then, when then President Barack Obama predicted the company would help power the American economy for years to come. Instead, the opposite occurred. A123 lost $269 million during an 8-month period in 2012 alone. Losses that were driven in part by the company's production of defective battery cells for Fisker Automotive. Wow. So she's betting on a winner. Winner, winner. There ain't going to be no dinner. Oh, fuck. So I'm going to just let you glance at this. The White House, that little Dylan, whatever, Mulvaney, here's day 200 as a girl that went to the White House. I don't know if you saw that shit. There's an article about this dipshit in here. I think this person is just a complete troll, but somehow got to sit down and do an interview at the White House with the President of the United States just because he's a TikTok star who is celebrating every single day as a girl. And it's disgusting. You can read the article. I'm not going to. In the New York Post, Dearborn dads get school boards to buckle. If you saw this, remember in Dearborn, Michigan, there was some heavy-duty protesting at school board meetings because some of the Muslim community, which is a majority of the community in Dearborn, was not happy about some of the pornographic books and things that were in their school libraries. And not that they don't give a shit about the LGBTQ stuff, but although they don't want that shit in their schools either, well, apparently the school board is buckled. The most perverse... Okay, this is how the article starts. The most perverse in our society will always seek out the most vulnerable. And lately, literary perversion has crept its way into schools and libraries nationwide by means of progressive influence and paid for with your tax dollars. Well, these perverse actors have attempted to weaponize our parental instincts to protect our children from anything age inappropriate by claiming our objections are either politically or religiously motivated or just transphobic. For the last few weeks, Dearborn, Michigan has become another battleground as parents showed up in force at school board meetings in fierce opposition to books being available that feature highly sexually explicit content and instructions. One of the books parents particularly objected to is This Is Gay, was accessible to students despite giving explicit details on a variety of sexual acts and even offering suggestions on where to find sexual partners. Yes, this is a children's book that was teaching children how to find a hookup on Grindr. Literally in the book, talking about how to get a hookup on Grindr. Fantastic. And so now what's interesting about this particular protest, though, it was dominated by men. The men came out because a lot of these protests you see, it's the women coming out and whatever. Although the guy in London County, Virginia, was obviously a man when his daughter got forcibly, you know what I mean. Anyway, but in this one, a lot of alpha dudes came out at these school board meetings, and they were not happy. Now, the stark response of the community led the school board to abruptly end one meeting early and proceed with another meeting later at a larger venue to be able to support the number of people from the community who wanted to have their voices heard. The media and social media's central focus was aimed at the religious demographics of the residents. Dearborn has the largest Muslim population in the United States per capita, but For me, their religion took a backseat as to what was vastly different at Dearborn versus every other school board confrontation we've seen. The speakers were mostly men. Who wrote this? Is this this sounds like it was written by Megan Fox. No, this is Adam Coleman. Yeah, he's cool. I like Adam Coleman. The speakers were mostly men. Where's that here? Sorry about this. What the hell? Oh, here we go. It wasn't just fathers who were outraged enough to come out to express their opposition to explicit books on school shelves. The community elders also made their presence known. Masculine, righteous indignation permeated these meetings as men felt schools were encroaching on their community's children's innocence. Absolutely. Anyway, I'll let you all read the rest of the article, but this is a great article by Adam Coleman. The first time since the start of these nationwide school board battles, I saw men rallying together to make it clear that any actions to exploit their children's vulnerability will receive equal and opposite reactions. They weren't cowering in fear of being canceled or labeled toxically masculine. Now, look, in this case, though, if you take that meme, the guy with the 2 red buttons and he's sweating on which one to push, transphobic or Muslim, these men were Muslims. So the Democrats are afraid of them too. There's a balance on who you can cancel in this one. So maybe the fact that more men came out not worrying about being canceled, it's like, fuck you, I'm a Muslim. You can't cancel me either. So it was kind of, dueling kryptonites. I'm a Muslim man. Well, you're transphobic as fuck. Well, fuck you. I'm a Muslim man. Anyway, so, but good. Yeah, good for these dads and and these parents. I don't know if they did some reconsideration or whatever, something. But anyway, you need to read the article. So good for them. And then finally, I do have an article about the diesel shortage that Gunfox gave me. Currently, apparently, we have a 25-day supply of diesel. As demand surges, diesel stockpiles in the U.S. are reportedly at their lowest points since 2008, with only enough fuel for 25-day supply, according to a recent report from Bloomberg. Guess what that does? That causes the price of diesel to go up even higher. Just what we need. And how does most of the goods get to your supermarket and Target and Home Depot and shit? Well, by diesel-powered trucks and trains. So, gird your loins, people. More. And then we'll skip the Dennis Prager. Finally, this is just precious. I don't know if you've seen this video yet, but apparently the movie Wakanda Forever is about to come out, and this young lady has a message for you white folks, because I'm of the melanated variety, but here's a message for the white folks who are planning on seeing Wakanda Forever. And this is very important public service announcement from this TikTok video, and there's some music in it that I'll probably get in trouble for, but I don't care. Here we go. Here it is. Here's a message for anyone planning on seeing Wakanda Forever, the sequel to Black Panther movie. I'm just going to talk through the music, so it's hard to tell what that is. Okay,
message
here we go.
Is to all our would-be accomplices and white allies.
Would-be accomplices? That doesn't sound right. But anyway, and white allies. A message for white people. White people! Here's a message. If you're gonna go see Wakanda Forever.
This message is to all the white people who have BLM in their bio. If you really want to prove to black people that you love us and you care about us and you are down for the cause, do not go see that movie opening weekend. You buy your ticket, you give it to a black person or a black family who can't afford to go.
What? Okay, white people. Anybody gonna see Wakanda Forever on the opening weekend? You got a ticket you could give up? Because, God, brother needs a ticket.
And then you go sit at that theater in front of the doors.
Sit in front of the doors. You block people. You block other white people from going to the movie. Listen why.
sure that every black person in that theater can enjoy that movie in peace.
Now, first of all, there ain't no such thing as watching a movie in peace when there are a bunch of black folk in the theater. Because they'll be hipping and yelling and shit. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Because anyway, let me just see that movie in peace. Hell no. There'll be people yelling and making noise and shit, and talking and whatever. But anyway.
Make sure that you use your body to block us.
Use your
from
body.
Anybody who would be coming in that theater.
Please, white people, protect us. Protect us from those other white people that aren't as good as you white people. Because you are the good white people who are going to cuck and stand outside the theater, make sure no other white people can see the movie so we can watch it in peace. Really?
To do us harm.
Whoa, what? Wait, I missed that. See, I remember. What?
To block us from anybody who would be coming in that theater to do us harm.
Who's going to do you harm by watching a damn movie? Good Lord, woman.
Is your job. You can go see it on another weekend. Go see it on the second or third weekend.
Oh, my God.
But the first weekend, that's for us.
Wait. To do so what?
Anything other than this is anti-black.
Oh, good Lord. Good Lord. It's just one of those times where I want to start using the vernacular. Bitch, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, it's time for me to get the hell up out of here. Thank you for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. For both of you watching on Rumble and on YouTube, I greatly appreciate you joining me. If you would be so kind, hit the like button or the plus button or the thumbs up button or whatever it is on whatever platform you're watching on. And also, before you go, share the stream. During, which is now, or immediately after, share the stream. Tell somebody about the show. Let's grow the community. Also, if you're not following on Rumble, subscribe to Rumble. If you're not following on YouTube, subscribe to YouTube. And also locals.com, PDog Night. I think it's pdognight.locals.com, something like that. You'll find me. It's in the, if you go on Rumble, there's a link to my locals page, which I'm going to start participating on that a lot more. So anyway, guys, I got to go. Please. Oh, and if you want to sponsor the show, pdognight.live, 24 hours a day. Thank you, sponsors today. Chicago Mike and Likely D. For all your ladies' simple pleasures. Oh, yeah. All right, guys, I got to go. Thanks for being here. I got to go. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thanks for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.